Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by the Lines and Play Picks, coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander. Joined as always by my counterpart on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. Obviously, another great article up on playpicks.com for you guys for tonight's slate for Friday night. We did have a couple of gift card winners last night. We've got Glenn Morris and Ellen, I apologize, Mendoza. Really nice job guessing that 45 points, rebounds, and assists. Who do we have in that prop again, Nate? I just forgot.
Julius Randle. You got
Randle.
Continued carrying my seasonal fantasy team. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And the most amount of assists in his career. He was balling out last night against the Magic, but whatever. So we'll get those gift cards out to you guys, and then obviously have another couple opportunities next week. And as always, if you need a FanDuel account or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings in your area. And Nate, let's get into those lines for tonight.
Yeah, I really like this slate here. As March Madness opens tonight, we'll be focusing on the NBA, though, making a little money here.
Yep.
Don't love the first game, though. Kings +7 at the Celtics, who are just a bunch of head cases. We will gloss over that one. Spurs -5 at Cavaliers. That's been creeping up all morning. Nets -10.5 right now at the Magic. The Jazz are -5 at the Raptors, who finally have their 3 starters back. The Pistons +2. It's hovering at different areas right now at the Rockets, who are probably going to snap that losing streak. Let's hope. The Warriors without Steph or Oubre are sitting +8.5 at Grizzlies. Pacers +4 at Heat. Bulls +7 at Nuggets. Wolves, after beating the Suns, +11 at Suns. And then the Mavs are -4 at the Blazers. So the first thing that jumped out at me, Josh, I saw the Spurs open as underdogs at the Cavs. That quickly adjusted to about even money, and now it's being bet all morning. It'll probably be about -5, -6 by the time guys get to it here this afternoon. But I absolutely trust the Spurs to win. I've already thrown them in a parlay on the money line. You just look at the quick numbers here, and I knew they would tell a story. I didn't know it would be this clear. The Spurs are 9-0 against the Eastern teams other than Philly or Brooklyn, right? So any bad team in the East or any mediocre team in the East, they win. They're 11-6 on the road and 5-2 when favored on the road. And the Cavs are 2-11 against the spread in their last 13 against the West. They're going to be a little overvalued after beating the Celtics, getting 23% of their points off free throws against the Celtics team that I mentioned does not bring it every night. And the Spurs are the number 1 team in terms of limiting free throws. They're also much better defensively without LaMarcus Aldridge, which we've been harping on all year. It's now very evident. They're allowing just 107 points per game without LMA and just 103 in their last 7 games. That has something to do with DeMar DeRozan being out, which hurts their offense, but also helps their defense. They have Derek White back now, and they can give Jakob Poeltl all the minutes he can handle. I just don't think that the Cavs, who are very one-dimensional offense in terms of let Colin Sexton and Darius Garland attack, I don't think they're going to be able to keep pace with the Spurs, who just really impressed by coming back from 23 points in Chicago and should be pretty confident tonight.
Yeah, that was a nice comeback for them. And I think it's really a good point to make about make sure that you guys are, monitoring those opening lines. Obviously, we'll be able to get you a video as soon as we can the next day, but we're looking at these lines really early for these exact reasons. Sometimes there's just these, wonky opening lines for reasons that, Vegas might set based on what they think public perception is. And then there's a lot of smart people out there who will still be like, wait, that line is off, and grab it early before it starts to move when people start betting them one way, right? So just make sure that you're kind of monitoring that stuff, because people like Nate are going to continue to find that value early when it's available. Another game, Nate, that I think we can definitely find some value, even though it's a decent sized spread, is Denver-Chicago. That was another game where I was I had these preconceived notions that Denver's probably going to be able to do really well against this East Coast team, Eastern Conference team in Chicago. And that Chicago, is someone who they haven't done well against really good teams at this point. They're 4-11 against the spread, against winning teams right now. And they're allowing teams to shoot really well from 2, which is what Denver does, right? They play at the second slowest pace, but they still have one of the most efficient offenses and still score the 4th amount of points in the league. And they're still cooking, right? They're the buzzsaw that I think everybody's going to keep running into for a while as Joker continues his MVP, crusade. And then Michael Porter Jr. has joined in on the action in their last 8, which they've won 7 of those. MPJ is up to 20 points a game, shooting ridiculous 63% from the field. About 50 something, 52% from 3. I don't expect that to obviously last forever, but I do see that continuing enough that they've got this clear third scorer now with Jokic and Murray that I'm really looking forward to. So combine that with Chicago needing to play fast to win at the fastest pace, and when they play these teams with that slower pace, it really messes up what they're able to do on offense, and they're just not good enough yet defensively to be able to hang with one of, if not the best offensive team in the league right now for Denver. So I'm not really scared of that -7 for the Nugs taking on the Bulls tonight.
Yeah, they are the best over the last 8. I mean, it was the Jazz, then the Suns picked up the mantle, and now it's the Nuggets. Those are the red hot teams that you got to follow until the wheels fall off. So I love this angle. I am kind of scared of the Bulls' track record against covering against West teams. They are something like 13-6 against the spread against the West. I would look at teasing it down. I mean, I totally have confidence that Denver could run away with this, but what I have more confidence in is their offense, which you mentioned, I think scoring 118 on 51% shooting in that 8-game span. So I would look at their team total first, guaranteeing sort of that they get up to that number against a bad Chicago defense, and then see if the Bulls come along for the ride or not. Either way, you're safe, right? And in another game that I expect that I'm taking the points rather than trying to predict a winner, the Raptors hosting the Jazz. Jazz just gave up 133 in a loss at Washington last night, got knifed up by Russell Westbrook. And the Raptors, they struggled a little bit. Fred VanVleet, very public about saying that he's not all the way back from COVID, so he'll still be struggling a little. But with him and Siakam back, that's their 2 leading scorers. They get OG Anunoby back tonight. And they've gone over in 6 of their last 8, thanks mostly to Norman Powell being an absolute dynamo with a 125 individual offensive rating, averaging 28 points per game on 57% field goal shooting. He has a similar kind of skill set to Westbrook in terms of he's just too quick for a rim protector to get there, and he's a great mid-range shooter. I like him to keep their offense going, even if those other 2 guys aren't completely back. And we know what we're getting with the Jazz offensively. They do average 7 more points per game on the road. They've also gone over in 6 of their last 8. They're the number 1 3-point shooting team, and Toronto is the 4th worst 3-point defense. They're the number 2 fourth quarter scoring team. Toronto's gives up the 7th most, scores the 7th most in the 4th. So I would even live bet the over if you can get it early. But right now at 230, I'm taking that over.
Yeah, no, I'm with the over. I hate Utah right now. They keep zigging when I'm zagging, apparently. But I do think that the points are something you can continue to look at with them. And the Raptors, I really like the points in that Celtics game the other night that burned us. The C's just putrid on offense. They didn't have Kemba, which was unexpected, but whatever. At any rate, this game, I do expect the Raptors to be able to hang, and I don't see Utah slowing down their scoring. It's really going to come down to their defense, and with Toronto's capacity to run and leak out and then pull threes, I think you're going to see a pretty high, fast-paced game. So I'm definitely with the over more than anything on that one. And then another game, I'm looking at the total for this one to a degree, Nate, is that Portland-Dallas game. I think there's a little bit of overhype on the scoring there. You still got, the total right now is above 230, I think about 233.5 in some places. And, really, right, like I said, CJ McCollum's coming back. Still, 2 games is usually at least the minimum you want to give someone when they're coming back from a big rest, from injury like he had. And this is his 3rd game back, so we'll see if he's able to get into the flow a little bit more. But I still think, what we're looking at here is Dallas, who's continued to slam the unders and in their recent games, and that's in large part due to Porzingis coming back, playing defense. His defensive rating, which was really, really bad when he was able to play earlier in the season, up around like 120 at one point. Has dropped really considerably to a place where he's got about 6 blocks in his last 3 games. He's brought that individual defensive rating down. And that's somewhere else that I think we can find some value is with Kristaps' double player performance plus a money line win for the Mavs gets you plus 230. So I really like Chris to be able to get boards against a Portland team that doesn't rebound well. Obviously, doesn't defend the paint well or defend well anywhere for that matter. But I'm still going to try to keep that game maybe under the 233.5, and definitely look at that player performance for Chris Stapps.
Yeah, I love that this is another perception based line, right? Because the last 6 meetings between these teams have gone over, and they've gone over pretty handily, averaging almost 250. But the Mavs have just been a completely different team since their 10-day break. We've harped on this. They've gone under in 9 of 11 games since then. They're allowing the second fewest points in the NBA, 102. They're scoring just 107 because they're dead last in pace over their last 6 games. They don't allow free throws, which is how Portland's been scoring. They're just very well set up to contain a Blazers team that I expect to be tired. Third game in 4 nights after playing the fast-paced Pelicans, having to come back against them on Tuesday. So I like the Mavs to win. I like the under, and if you parlay those together, you're getting plus 230 on DraftKings, which I love those odds.
Nice.
And then, so from DFS perspective, if you can afford Luka, he's obviously your guy to pay up for tonight. I'm looking at Christian Wood in his second game back. It seems like he was kind of waiting for this one, right? The Pistons come to town. I would look at a Rockets win finally, and maybe getting a bonus there on FanDuel with Christian Wood's performance. I'm looking at DeLon Wright on the other side, especially if John Wall's out. I'm looking at Derek White as a cheap point guard, Jakob Poeltl. I'm looking at Larry Nance on the other side of that against Spurs interior D that is still pretty bad. And targeting the Jazz Raptors game, Joe Ingles still really cheap, even though Mike Conley's back, he'll have less responsibility, but he's a bargain. Norman Powell, Donovan Mitchell could both go off. And your Nuggets, Will Barton, I think, is the best value right now on the Nuggets. He's become integral in what they're doing recently.
Yep, yeah, he's getting a lot of crunch time. I like that, and I love the Christian Wood pick. There's really not going to be anybody on the floor for Houston to put the ball in the net, with Victor Oladipo kind of feeling like he's mailing it in, to be honest. So I'm definitely looking for Steve Wood to have
waiting to be traded.
Yeah, or waiting to be traded for sure. So anyway, that's all the time we have for today on Friday, you guys. We will be back next week. Another opportunity for a gift card, obviously. And as far as this weekend goes, definitely jump in, like, and subscribe, get in those comments, and tell us what you're betting on. We'll have some fun talking about the games with you guys and be back next week. As for tonight, happy betting.